let's bring up the first video. Ooh, TV.
Whoa.
It's coming through the TV. We don't need to hear it. They can hear it.
So what are we looking at?
I'm going to bring that down just a little bit for them so that it looks like it might be as loud as
Tell
us.
the people what we are looking at. New lighting or old lighting.
All right. So this video here is
that looks good.
I basically dropped into training mode, and with the settings for on the local build to give us, we still have the new trees. This is what I was basically driving around in on the video on Tuesday. So when you saw the road changes, etc. So you're also going to see I did not turn shadows off. I set shadows. I may even actually go into the graphic settings during both of these videos just to double check that it's set properly. You'll see that the edge of the shadow kind of like renders in as they're going because I set the shadows to low, which is typically what most players were playing on
And they're going to
during
turn
preseason 3.
They're going to turn the interior lighting off.
Correct.
That's with interior lighting on.
Oh yeah, this is interior. I may have missed that one.
I mean, it's fine. It's still going to be there.
It still works the same way. I was so focused on the shadow setting that.
But the colors look really good.
Yeah. So this again, if anybody watching is talking about colors in terms of like grass, things like that, I know there's a lot of conversations about that on Twitter. Basically, if you're remembering neon grass from back at that time period of preseason 3, you're going to want to use your NVIDIA control panel, go into color settings, and crank your Digital Vibrance up, and that'll give you back that look. We're broadcasting it in normal settings so that if players do have that on, it doesn't alter the color set. So this is default settings on the NVIDIA control panel.
Looks really good.
So yeah, basically just drove around the map, so it's going to run for about few minutes here. I just kind of randomly drive off road. I wanted to make sure I drove past trees and things like that in both videos so you can kind of see the foliage changes.
It definitely hits you right away, like the feeling of, especially driving around this field, like you can feel the game, like the game's coming back, right? Like this feels like what I remember I used to play.
The thing that hit me the most, and I don't know if I drive it in this video, I do in the other one, is that with the road change, there's that T intersection north of Pleasant Valley that had right by the gas station where it's smooth on Z2, but in this road it had that like bump and it almost like acted like a weird ramp at the intersection. That's back with this.
Nice.
So those little things that like people remember and you can kind of full send and catch air and everything off of that, those are all back with the road as well.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of that's back. This is where I wanted to drive through, and I mean, clearly there's issues with trees still here. I actually don't know if that's in live. That might be fixed in live. This is kind of an odd build that Lenny has put together. Yeah, so this is what you guys saw earlier in the week. Pretty solid.
I just want to say a shout out to Lenny, who was working so hard on making this, because we didn't think that we were going to be able to do this. We thought that this was going to have to be recreated by hand, and it was going to be this massive task. And we were able to
basically Lenny
talk with
teaching himself how to do things.
Also talking with the old art director from H1Z1 back at Daybreak, and working through the files and seeing which files actually got changed, which files to revert, which files to keep.
And all those files got changed multiple iterations, so it was also finding the change, then finding which one's the right change. And
and luckily it was just a file process for combing through which ones to actually look at, and then once they were changed, how to adjust them after they were changed. Because so the files that got changed, it didn't just magically make it look like this. Lenny then had to go and adjust a lot of the sliders and a lot of the looks of how you can make the lighting look the way it looked back in season 3.
Yeah, so there was new. I was sitting there when we actually figured out, had the lighting breakthrough. There's some things that got added to the world when the lighting changed, and it was something else to literally. So players were talking to us about the kind of bluish tint to the shadows, right? Literally, the change log said this thing was added because we're changing the color of the shadows.
And it changed the whole lighting model.
And we were like, cool, that's what did everything.
So just so players so players have an idea of
that
what's
up.
happening, there's a couple major things going on. There's the atmosphere that changes, right? So there's like